Have you ever been in a restaurant getting ready to pay your bill and someone walked up to you and said, the bill has been paid? Or in a taxi and you're getting ready to alight and the conductor tells you, no, it's fine, someone has catered for your transport. These are symbols, signs of grace bombs. And today we're going to be talking about grace bombs in relation to family, how that can impact our families. My name is Timothy Asingwire. This is Grace Springs Family Network in collaboration with Focus on Family, changing one family at a time. Today in the studio, we have Priscilla. Priscilla is a governance expert, but I will let her introduce herself as we jump into this exciting topic. Priscilla, you're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Please say hi to the people.
Hello, my name is Priscilla Serukka. I lead a consultancy firm called Kairos Consult, where we specialize in issues of governance, in leadership, board training, board inductions, board evaluations, and also evaluation of projects. I am also married for 36 years.
Wow.
And today is the day we celebrate 36 years. We have 4 adult sons. 2 are married, 2 granddaughters, 2 daughters-in-law. And me and my husband, we are passionate about counseling young people who are getting married and passionate about good family life. So I'm very delighted to be here, and especially on this day when we celebrate the start of our family.
Wow. Priscilla, it's exciting to have you on a family show like this on your anniversary, 36 years of building family.
Yes.
This is exciting and brilliant. I mean, I married myself. I have 1 child, and I'm hoping to get to 36.
Yes.
By the grace of God.
Little by little, one step at a time.
Yeah. All right, so I think we'll jump into this. We had the privilege of having an interesting discussion on Focus on Family, the show. And in this, Jim Delay was saying that he had an invitation from his coach to get to a game, right? And for him, it was that invitation by his coach meant something big to him. And in that context, how critical do you think it is for parents and community members to intentionally notice children and adolescents, and what are some of the practical ways to do this?
Okay, thank you so much. I think it is very critical. As family, the children we have, like I said, I have 4 sons, but each one of them is so different. There are those who are talkative, will easily speak their mind. They'll let you know when they're happy. They'll let you know when things are not good. And then there are the more quiet, introverted ones, and they'll not compete with the space to talk. So it's up to us as parents to be able to dig them out. I'd like to give also an example, even in the community. One time as a family, we had invited our church choir to our home. They had gone through a season of a number of presentations and concerts. And at the end of the year, we thought, let's thank them by making a good meal for them. And there was a young man whom I didn't know so well. I decided to get to sit to him, next to him, and ask him about himself, his life, his family. And he surprised me and said, wow, this is the first time since I joined this church that somebody has taken keen interest about me and to want to know about me. Now, the end of the story is I ended up supporting him in some of his academic endeavors.
Yes.
As a children also in my home, as I said, we need to take time to dig out, and especially as they become to that adolescent age, to get close to them. One way that I learned along the way, and which I appreciated even in this other conversation, was getting dates with them. To try and know where they are, what is going on. And at that age, they like a good meal, and you get talking, just to be a friend or trying to communicate, I am available, what is going on, how are you, how can I support you, and so on and so forth. And it's important before things go too bad.
True.
They say prevention is better than cure.
Always, yes.
Yes.
Okay, okay. Speaking about children in family, right? Do you think, or do you feel like we're dealing with a generation that is suffering, and I'll call it unnoticed, or a syndrome where they feel they're not being noticed?
Unfortunately, yes. And I think it is growing more and more. And that is seen by also the many children ending up in mental asylums or mental health issues.
Yes.
First of all, one of the areas I think that is affecting us a lot is the social media.
Yes.
Our children get more and more and more on social media. I remember one time when our children were slightly younger, I'll tell them, I'm going to put a box there. As you come to the dining table, drop your phone there.
That was nice.
And I was telling them, you don't have to react to every ping which goes onto your phone. It can wait.
Yes.
And but our children are getting more on social media. And at times the world out there is a little too flamboyant and artificial. And they're getting disconnected from the real life connections. The other thing is not only our children, even us as parents, the social media has taken its root. There's so many Zoom calls or whatever calls or team calls that we have even in the evenings when we get home. And therefore, this is eating into our family life. Then also I talked of the artificial life out there on the social media. So the children compare themselves and they feel they don't match. But yet on social media, people put their best photos, their best poses. You know, they talk so many artificial things which are not real life. And that is what our children are comparing themselves with. Our kind of job situations are also causing us to be too busy.
Yeah.
We are missing many things about our children. Because of being too busy, we are flying here and there, meeting after meeting, working late, deadlines, and so on and so forth. So yes, it is causing us to miss out on our children. But also, another thing which is creeping in, even in the church, are the high divorce rates or separation rates within the family, even if they are still together. So you find that as children as parents are angry with one another, the children are left lost. They are not connected in any way. And the insecurity that comes from that is also great. The high competition for grades, needing to have very high grades, and the pressure sometimes we put on our children to get those grades, and there's coaching, and there's what, and
it's crazy.
Yes.
Priscilla, what do you think would be the solution for children who are experiencing this kind of unnoticed? And it's very easy to miss a child, even in family. Because like you said earlier, even family can become a crowd.
Yes.
Even in a home of 5, 6, it can be a crowd. And if you have that kind of child, they'll withdraw slowly. What do you think are some of the solutions?
Okay. I'll share with you some practical things we've also done as a family.
Yes.
First of all, in our evening family altars we used to have when the children were all at home, especially, we then got a special day. Each one had a day. Monday was dedicated to Jonathan, Tuesday to Michael, Wednesday it is Solomon, Thursday is Timothy, and everyone had a day, even us as parents. So on that day, you are the spotlight. What would you like us to pray for you? You would even lead actually the devotion for the family, and then our prayers are focused on you. So in that way, you get to get to know and pray about the challenges you're experiencing, and everyone standing with you in the family. The other is also being deliberate in having dates with children, or making little surprises for them. You know, sometimes we are quick and big in making surprises for other people out there. And we neglect the surprises whether for your spouse, a small surprises for your spouse.
Yes.
Doesn't need to be a special day to give a gift or to remember them, to take them out. But you can go out and have a date with them, even though there is nothing special.
To celebrate.
Yes, to celebrate. So I think I like this idea of a grace bomb too. Reaching out to our children with a grace bomb, whether to my daughter is in love,
Yes.
and send them 100K and say, for you to spend on yourself or whatever you want to do, just to know, let them know you're thinking about them, you love them, you care for them, and so on and so forth.
Wow.
It needs us to be more deliberate, more intentional in doing that.
More intentionality. I like the of course we're focusing on the children, but the daddy and mommy here, are there some of those grace bombs? Because usually, like we were saying earlier, that often the people we love, we unintentionally take for granted sometimes.
Yes.
So because they're there, someone is not going anywhere. So it's not easy, and yet you can grace bomb someone else outside the circle.
Yes.
And forget that person who is right next to you. How has that played out in your own life?
It is true, we tend to take each other for granted. Recently, we had a visiting preacher at a wedding who said, ladies like being told, I love you, I love you, I love you. I told him that first time I told you I love you, I've not changed that. When I change it, I'll say it. It still stands the same. But we all need to be affirmed. And just a recent example, on Sunday, my husband was going to travel out. And I told him, okay, let's go. So I was going to drop him at the airport. So I told him, okay, let's go for a first service. And after that, let's go for a brunch. So it will combine your lunch and your breakfast and a good breakfast and so on, till you eventually get onto the plane or wherever. So he was surprised, but he liked it. Now, our youngest son, who was at home and he got to know, he also tagged in anyway on that on that grace bomb. And those small gestures, they don't have to be too much or too expensive. But thinking about a pleasant surprise, we all love pleasant surprises. And I think I like this idea of a grace bomb, that one needs to think something pleasant for the people around that we love and we care for, let alone even in the community, as an opener to share the gospel. Sometimes as Christians, we just want to tell people God loves them, you are going to hell. But how about the door opener? The door opener I see here is the grace bomb.
Yes. You do something nice, and that gives you the platform to preach the gospel.
Actually, it gives you permission.
Permission, yes. That's a better one. It gives you permission. All right. So Priscilla, in our show, Focus on the Family, the interviewer highlights what he considered to be the most important tenet in the kingdom of God. Do you agree with him?
Yes, to a very big extent. The grace of God. He highlighted the grace of God being a very important tenet in our family. In the Christian family. And I think it means we also need to be gracious to one another. Even as Christians, at times we have been seen or said to be very judgmental, very critical, especially of those who are different from us. We want them to lead their lives according to our script. And then also we tend to isolate ourselves from such people. And that also hinders our being able to witness to them, to reach out to them. We push them away and also miss many opportunities then to be able to share with them the love of Christ. So yes, I think it's very important, and it's something we need to check ourselves. Even as we come before our God. I was reading this morning a story of the Pharisee who went before God in prayer and said, I am not like that man. Me, I am righteous. I pay my tithe. I do this and so on. And he was comparing himself, not like the taxman and all those other people. I don't murder, I don't kill. And the taxman came before the Lord. And instead he beat his chest and said, oh, have mercy upon me, have mercy upon me, have mercy upon me. And the Bible ends by saying that man found mercy. The Pharisee did not find mercy. So yes, we need to learn that extending of grace and mercy to people.
Thank you, Priscilla. So one man found mercy because he let go of his self-righteousness. He did not consider himself. But that brings me to an important aspect of this conversation. That same interviewer talks about how him and his fiancée and himself grew exponentially in their Christian walk because of down-to-earth Christians. We have this stereotyping thing with Christianity. Tell me about that. What do you think? Is that even a thing that we should consider? How bad is that for us in the Christian walk, stereotyping Christians?
Yes, and the stereotyping would be like the story I was telling about the Pharisee.
Yes.
Where we have that self-righteousness. We compare ourselves to others and think we are better than them. Yet, ideally, we should be comparing ourselves with the Lord. And that being down to earth as a Christian, I think it is more of being able to share even our weaknesses, our failures, and how we come out of those failures and weaknesses, and that we can be accepted so that we are more real people. Because really, we are not yet completely perfect. We are on the journey of being perfect. But how can we make others feel normal around us and be able to share and open up to us, let alone in the families? When we look like we have everything together, everything falls in order, we need to retreat a little bit and become a little normal and down to earth so that somebody can be able to share, I messed up today. This is what happened. So that somebody can be able to come to us and they want a shoulder to cry on and to lean on. Perhaps they made a mistake, wrong decision, relationship has broken up. Can they be able to share it with somebody without you judging and blaming them? It was your fault. Anyway, without you feeling they deserved it. And being compassionate. I think it is something we need to relearn again. Being compassionate, being kind to one another, putting ourselves in the shoes of other people. Yes, we may have some accomplishments, but we all have failures along the way. Are we able to say, I'm sorry, I did this and the other? Are we able to make people feel normal? Somebody once said that people will always remember not what you said or did, but they'll remember how you made them feel. So as I speak and share, I'm also talking to myself. How am I making people feel around me? Can they feel easy to come and open up to me, or they feel everything is together? They can't share their shortfallings, and mistakes. Can they feel free to come to my home and open up and, as it were, hang their dirty linen, and it will be okay, we shall remain friends? Or do they feel I'll be so hard upon them? I can tell, stories or examples. There was once a young lady, a mentee of mine. So she was getting married to somebody who she knew perhaps I would completely disapprove. Well, she didn't tell me of all her marriage plans. I kept hearing the rumors and so on. But it's because one time she brought to me somebody, and I told her, please,
this is not.
Let's wait. Let's hold on. But she was so willing to go ahead with this, and it didn't end well. But I had told her, wait. So this time she said, if I go to her, she might tell me, wait. Well, of course, she didn't come to me. But how can I, as a Christian, be able to allow somebody to share their whatever they want to do however ugly it may
Yes.
seem, and I can listen them through.
And they still leave feeling loved.
Yes.
And not
Yeah.
judged.
Mm.
Wow. That's, I think that's a big lesson for all of us, to be able to remain inviting, loving for the people around us. And of course, in our topic, grace bombing people. What do you think? What are some of those things you feel would stand in the way for us or would prevent us from impede grace bombing?
Okay. I think today, as a society and as a church, we are becoming more and more individualistic.
Yes.
We are thinking of me, I, myself, my children. Sometimes when we actually, as we already mentioned, we leave out our children. So this individualistic mentality, and also thinking you don't have enough, but yet we could have something little to share. You know, like you mentioned, you're in a taxi and somebody paid your taxi fare.
Yes.
I don't know, it could have been like 2,000 or 3,000.
Yeah.
I'm sure we all have a 2,000 we can spare for somebody. It is just the intentionality and wanting to do an act of kindness. As I drive on the car, I'm always challenged sometimes. You know, you don't want to give room for somebody to come in.
Yeah.
Yet you could actually stop and they come in.
And
I always forget it. And when
yes,
somebody
so
does
much
it to
peace.
me, I feel so bad. I say, oh dear, Lord, help me to be more gracious to another person on the road. How can we be... That could also be a grace bombing. You be gracious and allow them to come in before you.
Yes.
You will still get to where you're going, even if 2 other cars come in before you. But how can that intentionality of thinking of another person, how happy they will feel when you allow them to come in before you in the road? They feel happy.
Sure.
How can I make the drivers happier on the road?
Yeah.
Or simple acts of kindness.
And sometimes they don't have to cost you.
Yes,
so
like
much.
That one doesn't cost you much.
Just
so
patience.
In simple acts of kindness. And I was very challenged when listening to this other recording.
Yes.
Where they mentioned this lady, that grace bombing eventually brought her back to church after 20 years of walking away from the Lord.
Yes.
But the act of kindness where this gentleman paid a bill in a restaurant of somebody who had walked away without paying the bill, and what it caused, the ripple effect of that thing. I think we underestimate the ripple effect of our small acts of kindness. I always remember one young girl who came to us when we were still a younger couple, and she wanted school fees. And she said, my husband is a medical doctor. And she said, I think my husband used to treat the grandmother somewhere in a clinic. So she wanted school fees. This young girl was around 8 years. And I looked at this girl. My husband was not there. And I looked at this girl, a beautiful looking girl, and I said, somebody will take advantage of this girl. And we started paying for her school fees until she completed university.
Wow.
But there's one thing she told me. I don't know where I would have ended if you had not come in and intervened in my life. And she said, when I look at my siblings, it is me who has come this far.
Wow.
So I don't know what would have happened to me, or whether I would have been wedded off somewhere in a very funny way.
True.
She is so grateful. Today she lives in the UK, but she always buys me nice handbags.
I can imagine. Because you said yes that one time.
Yes, that one time. It was not easy because we had 4 children all in school.
Yeah.
And at one time we ended up with about 8 or 9 children we are paying school fees for. So it was not always easy. But today they are all through. Okay, some 2 capsized along the way and they didn't continue to school. You know, you pick up some children and some
give them an opportunity.
Some misbehave along the way. But I was always so delighted to her, and she would listen to you. You tell her, okay, now you're going to campus, perhaps take an evening course so that we look for a job, and we add on, because we also have other children now at the university, and then you also have this young lady.
Wow.
So another incident, I also got an opportunity to visit a certain catering college, very good one along Maruga. But I didn't have any girl. They were taking in girls. I had to look for a girl. to sponsor. I find it easy because even me, somebody grace bombed me. I lost my father when I was in senior 3, ending senior 3. Somebody paid my school fees from senior 4 to
All the
senior
way.
6.
Yes.
And all I had to do was to appear at school. So I think there is that tug always in my heart when I see a needy girl to help them, in a way to grace bomb them.
Yes.
This girl is now doing exceptionally so well in this college.
Wow.
And we never knew each other. So I didn't know that she's going to be serious or not, but
You just
she's
took
doing
the
very
step.
well. Yes, it was just a grace bomb. So really grace bombing can be a risk in itself if somebody abuses whatever you try, the kindness you do to them. But it is rare that we will turn away kindness.
Yes.
We all need a little kindness in this world if we can be intentional.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So essentially, if someone has experienced a grace bomb, they're more likely to give one.
Yes.
Okay.
I think so.
Yeah.
Because you will always, it writes itself on your heart. And you always, so if somebody, a situation presents to you, you always feel, if I had not been helped,
I would not have gotten here.
Yes.
Oh, thank you, Priscilla. So Priscilla, you mentioned the 2 people that you sponsored, the 2 young ladies. I don't know if they were ladies, but the 2 individuals you sponsored, I think for school, they started and then didn't finish. They fell off, they misbehaved, right? How did that affect your desire? Because we know your desire to grace bomb or to help. We know people that have been through such scenarios and decided, I'm not doing this again.
Well, to be sincere, I think there was that temptation to work. I better stop there. Let them leave people and their decisions. So grace bombing, I think, sometimes has a cost. Sometimes it turns out well, but sometimes it can also be abused. And the temptation is that you won't do it again.
Yes.
And the temptation, I think, is natural. But God has called us and prepared for us for good works out there which we need to do. If we allow some few disappointments not to continue grace bombing, then we will surely not fulfill our destiny and calling, and in doing those good works that we have been called. And the Bible says they have been prepared for us to do. So yes, we get disappointed, yes, but we need to pick ourselves again and continue grace bombing, because there are good works out there the Lord has prepared for us to do. So we get up.
Yeah.
And as I can tell you, even now, I am grace bombing 2 other children.
Wow.
So it means in spite of the disappointments, you get up.
It's part of fighting the good fight.
Yes, it's part of the good fight that we have to do.
Yes.
And so we continue with that work. And also, I like the way it can open us up to being able to share the gospel.
Yeah.
Without first saying, you know, Jesus loves you, and so on and so forth. But the things we do, the little acts of kindness, open doors for us and give us permission to be able to share the gospel later on.
Yeah.
I like the stories when we listen to that recording.
Yes.
That later on, it didn't happen immediately that they shared the word, but later on, this lady said that act of kindness that was done for her, where that bill was paid for her, where she was going to be deducted perhaps a salary, and then somebody paid the bill. So those acts of kindness are things perhaps which we shouldn't miss in our eagerness to reach out with the gospel even today as Christians.
Thank you, Priscilla. Now, what would be your, as we close this, what would be your advice for the community, the people out there? Generally, people out there, I think, have lost a good number of people, if they were free to speak. They have lost the heart to do these acts of kindness, to help people, mostly because of such scenarios like you described. They helped somebody we see it a lot on social media. You know, the people you help are the ones who turn around and stab you in the back. People have all these narratives.
Yes, it's
They
true.
have been through so many things trying to extend this kind of goodwill. What would be your advice to somebody who has been through this and they vowed they would never do this again?
Of course, it's giving time to heal
Yeah.
and to forgive. As Christians, we are called to forgive and heal. I know it has also happened to me sometimes, and forgiving sometimes is not so easy.
Yeah.
But we still need to get up and do not let the other person determine how you live your life again. It's easier said than done, I know, but it is something we need to do and pick ourselves up again and continue with the grace poems. It may not be immediate, but let's pick ourselves up again. Let's not allow the other person to determine how we should live our lives. Somebody once mentioned, refusing to forgive is like you think you are hurting the other person, but you're actually pushing a knife into yourself.
Directly.
So we oftentimes end up pushing knives into ourselves. We withdraw, we cut ourselves off people, but let's get up again.
Yeah.
I am speaking to you as I'm speaking to myself. Let's get up again and do grace bombing. Let's not give up because we were disappointed along the way. There are also other times we have not been disappointed.
Yes.
So let's not forget the many other times we have not disappointed for the 1 or 2 times that we have been disappointed.
Thank you very much, Priscilla Serukka. You've had it for yourselves. Don't give up grace bombing. Yes, sometimes it is hard, sometimes it's painful, but we have to learn to forgive, like Priscilla was saying. And from all of us at the Grace Springs Family Network, in collaboration with Focus on the Family, thank you for watching this show. Would like to ask you to follow us on all our social media platforms and follow this specific conversation on our YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe. Again, it's been Timothy Asingwire, your host, and Priscilla Serukka, my guest for this morning. Thank you so much. See you next time. God bless you.